Good morning and welcome to Coffee with Alain. Today, September 23rd at 2:50 a.m. EDT, Eastern Daylight Time, or Greenwich Minutes Time would be 0650. So whichever time you want to do. But at 2:50 a.m., autumn began astronomically in the northern hemisphere, and spring started in the southern hemisphere. So today is the first day of spring. And to celebrate that, I have my Happy Fall cup with Snoopy and Woodstock and the leaves falling. So happy fall, everyone. Autumn has officially begun. I'm wearing hoodies a little bit more often because it's a little chilly outside, going outside early in the morning. And so fall is here and beautiful, beautiful scenery out. In fact, not far from here, 100 and some miles, a little over 100, 150 miles maybe, in Salmon, Idaho, it was declared, one of the most scenic fall autumn drives for the foliage and stuff and all the things in the country. Now, those of us that live here in Montana know that our scenery and the scenery over the pass in Salmon, Idaho, pretty close, right? And you could say that Montana and places in Montana have some of the most beautiful fall scenery in the country. Not to take away from beautiful scenery in other places in the country as well. So get out and enjoy the beautiful scenery and have a happy fall. Saturday. So we're going to talk a little bit about a book, just one book today, because 2 days ago, September 21st, was Stephen King's 76th birthday. So a big happy birthday to Stephen King, extremely popular, prolific author. And the book I wanted to talk about a little bit today was his book on writing. This book and the one by David Morrell, which I'll talk about a different week, are a couple excellent books if you want to write. If you are a writer, you should read this and get some insights from a true master of the craft. Now, I will admit I have not read all of Stephen King's books. I don't like that genre as much. However, I loved The Stand, which was a little different for him. And, you read that unabridged version, it's like 1,000 some pages long, and it could have been longer and I still would have enjoyed it. I liked Under the Dome, a different book. Sort of people were comparing it to The Stand, not like a lot of his other horror stories. And that's why I read that. And I did enjoy it. I liked The Stand better. But this book on the craft of writing, exceptional. And that would be my favorite of his books. And then with The Stand right up there as my favorite novel of his. And it's just a good book about the craft of writing. I'm trying to see if I can get a table of contents to let you know a little bit of what's in here. But it's a memoir on the craft. There's a couple of forewords, and then there's really not a table of contents. It's just, a memoir and about writing. And just strongly recommend it. And one of the things that I really admire about Stephen King, similar to why I so admire Sylvester Stallone, is because of the beginning story about Stephen King. And let's discuss that right after I say good morning to John. Appreciate John saying good morning. So if you're not aware, back in the 70s when Stephen King was a school teacher and trying to crank out some stories and different things, and then his first novel, he had written stories, but now he's working on his first novel, and he was doing fabulously at collecting rejection slips and getting pretty discouraged. And he ended up throwing the manuscript in the garbage. And it was his wife who took the manuscript out of the garbage and made him mail it off. And that was Carrie. He got a heck of a deal for that. I mean, it would be a nice payday today. In the 70s, it was an exceptional check. And then the movie got turned into, or the book got turned into the movie with Sissy Spacek, which became extremely popular. I mean, they even made a newer version not too long ago, but the version back in the 70s was a popular movie, popular book, and it launched Stephen King's career into astronomical proportions. I don't know how many books he's sold or how many millions of dollars he's made, but it's quite a few. And deservedly so. The man is a master at the craft. He's brilliant. His mind goes places where most people's minds don't. Going to say good morning to Jay as well. Appreciate you being here, Jay. And so I love that story, how he was so down and just just threw it in the garbage. And it was his wife who took it out of the garbage and said no and made him continue. And then when that sold, he didn't have to teach anymore. And it launched his career. I mean, now he teaches other things, but it launched his writing career into something that has enriched so many lives through the books and stories and movies and things that have been built on his imagination and his creativity and his master of the craft of writing and storytelling. And I think that is just an incredible story. And if you have any interest in writing and telling stories and so forth, On Writing, a memoir of the craft by Stephen King is an extremely worthy read. And I would encourage anybody that wants to write, anybody, especially if you want to craft novels and stories, to check out this book by Stephen King. That is what I wanted to share this morning on this spectacular Saturday, the first day of fall. So go out, make it spectacular, have a happy fall, and I'll see you tomorrow.